the top three things that will get you from 90 kilo snatch to 120 kilo snatch. Today I'm here with my training partner Asher. He went from 90 to 120 kilo snatch in about how many months, bro?
It was about 16 months. I was at 80 kilos snatch in October.
Oh, so you went from 80 to 120. Asher trains with my coach. So in 16 months, he did that crazy transformation. So we're truly going to show you guys the top three things that we did in order to get that transformation so you guys can do it too. Number one, and most importantly, it's this one right here, is your why. Okay, what I mean by this is that, for example, Asher, back when he was stuck at 80, 85 kilo snatch, he was just kind of going to the gym just to, train. Yeah. I remember the first time, bro, when you came to the gym, I was like, how long you've been lifting? And then you told me like 10 years. I was like, oh shit. Like I was expecting him to tell me he just did lifting for like a year or two. Yeah. But you told me 11 years and you did the 80 kilo snatch. Just absolutely crazy. Yes. But yeah, tell us a little bit about you before locking in and going from 80 to 120. What was your mindset and your routine?
So I started weightlifting at 10 years old. Mm-hmm. So I was lifting for that time almost 7 years at that point. And I never really locked in with my weightlifting until I bombed out at my nationals. I would just train how I would feel because I was just training for fun, right? I would just skip some lifts here, skip some training sessions there because I didn't feel like training, because I would just train for fun. I would only train when I really wanted to. And so when nationals came about, I went there with the goal of trying to hit 100 kilo snatch and 120 kilo clean and jerk, even though that was 10 kilos above both of my PRs. So I was a little eager and got a little bit ahead of myself, but then I went there, hit 90 kilos in snatch, missed 93 kilos, and then came to clean and jerks and I bombed out at 110. That was my PR, so I don't know why I decided to open up at 110 kilos, but we decided to just do that.
So we as human beings, we either run away from pain or we run towards pleasure. And I guess that for you, like running towards pleasure, which will be, becoming national champion, wasn't enough of a big drive for you.
Yeah.
It was more running away from the pain of just, bumping out and finishing second and third at every competition.
Yeah.
So that was more what pushed you, right? And so that's the importance of knowing yourself, right? I'm someone that I'm good at both. I'm good at running away from pain and I'm good at running towards pleasure, right? But I also know what holds me back and I also know what pushes me. So it's extremely important that you know what kind of person you are, right? For most weightlifters that I've seen, they run away from pain in order to reach their goals. That's the best strategy for them. And even most people in general, right? Because, becoming national champion, all those things, like they feel great, but it's not like, whoa, it's not like your whole life is going to change and you're going to receive $500,000. Like, absolutely not, right? Especially because most of you, you compete in masters. So it's like you don't really get anything from winning. But the terrible feeling of losing, that's what pushes you to win, right? A lot of champions that I've talked with, like Olympic champions, world champions, they're more afraid of the feeling of losing than just, wanting to win. Like, obviously they want to win, but what pushes them forward when they're truly sore and they don't really want to train is the feeling of losing. They don't want to go back there again. You get what I'm saying? So that's the aspect number one, is having a strong why, which in my case is to inspire my future children, to inspire my current family, my mom, my father, my little sister. That is my number one goal. And look, like what kind of example will it be to just give up or to just, be like, oh, the Olympic Games is too much for me. And in your case, it might be like Master World Champion or Master Pan American Champion or just doing your first competition, right? But what kind of example will it be to just give up on those things, right? It will not be a good example to your kids or to your future kids, right? And so whatever I start, I finish it, because that's the example I want to give to the people around me. So Asher, now you can get into the second aspect on how to go from 90 to 120 kilo snatch.
That is one of the things that has pushed me so far, is because when I bombed out, I never wanted to do that again. And that pushed me a lot more than just training to win. Yeah. Because never wanted to bomb out again. But the second most important thing that I found on my journey was going to be nutrition. I always thought that it was completely useless. I always thought it was just helpful if you were trying to get really lean or bulk up. And so I never took it seriously. I would eat a bunch of carbs. I would eat a bunch of junk food. I would eat sugar every night because I never thought it would actually have any effect on me until I actually started taking care of it. I decided to take care of my nutrition, but also bulk at the same time. And so I had a lot more natural carbs instead of going to McDonald's once or twice a week to eat food because I'll go there.
Like 80-20 is bullshit, bro. Because imagine if you put 80% gas on your car and 20% water, right? Like your car is just gonna like freaking break. You know what I'm saying? Your car is eventually gonna break. And so when you're just like eating 80% of the time healthy and 20% of the time you're just eating junk food, like your body is eventually gonna suffer the consequences. When you eat healthy most of the time, you don't really crave that much junk food.
I would completely agree with you. The 80-20 rule is what I followed, and I did not have abs. I was stuck at 90 kilo snatch at that point. And as soon as I locked in, it only took me like really a month to get used to eating clean. And the major thing that I did was just cut off eating out of the house. The only thing that I would do is eat at the house and make my food from scratch. Nothing frozen, nothing pre-bought from store or restaurant. And that really helped me to stay locked in.
Everyone's like, oh, Brian, like you're so disciplined because you eat well all the time. It's like, absolutely not. If you put a chocolate, right, in my apartment, I'm going to eat the chocolate. So what do? I just go to the grocery store and I don't buy chocolate, right? So it's all about positioning. If you position yourself in a way where all you can do is eat healthy, then you're going to eat healthy. But if you position yourself in a way where there's temptation everywhere, guess what's going to happen? You're eventually going to fall into that temptation. Now, when I'm truly locked in, even if there's chocolate, I know I'm not going to eat it, right? But what I'm saying is on a daily basis, because you're not 100% locked in all the time, right? Like, for example, now I'm going to finish the video and I'm going to go work. And after work, I'm going to be tired, right? And so I'm going to be like, oh, some chocolate, I'll just go eat it, right? So that's why I don't buy chocolate. That's why I don't buy junk food. All I do is I position myself in a way where it's literally impossible to not win with my nutrition, right? So now let's get into aspect number 3, right? Which is going to be guidance. What do I mean by guidance? By guidance, I'm not saying get a coach. By guidance, what I mean is that you truly need to work with someone that has already achieved all the things that you truly want to achieve and that has already helped others achieve the things that you truly want to achieve. For example, if you want to snatch 130 kilos or 120 kilos, you cannot get a CrossFit coach that has never snatched 100 kilos with a proper technique himself, because if not, you're never going to get to those 120 kilos, right? Same with general training plans and all of those things. You need a coach that actually knows his shit because he's done it himself and he's done it for others, right? So that's extremely important. It's going to be that guidance. And now, Asher, you can go into, the last point to get from 90 to 120.
The last point that I would give for that is something that I struggled with for a long time, and it's going to be mobility. I could not touch my toes standing up, and I didn't think that was a problem, okay? But I had back pain all the time. I always felt tight when I tried to sit in the hole for snatches. And I never thought it was actually a big problem until I actually started taking care of it consistently. And you don't need to do an hour of mobility every single day. I did 10 minutes in the morning and then 10 minutes before my training. And in 2 months, I was able to actually touch my toes. I was able to do a lot of more stretches. And it helped my pain go down, my soreness go down, and helped me be more comfortable in these positions that I wasn't comfortable in before. And it's very important in the long run, and also for you guys that are in your 20s and your 30s, you're tight everywhere, you're sore, also from working and sitting down all the time. You need to loosen your body before you go and put it under more stress. And mobility is the best way to take care of that. That would be 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes before your training session.
This is what Conor McGregor said. Conor McGregor said, when you go to bed and you sleep, you're getting stiff, right? When you sit down on that 9 to 5 where you're just working all the time like me on my computer, right, and taking calls, you're getting stiff. So the first thing that you need to do in the morning is hydrate, obviously, and then go ahead and do some mobility. The first thing you need to do in between every hour that you're working, at least for 1 or 2 minutes, is do some stretchings, right? You can do those stretchings because sometimes, for example, me, I'm working with other people. I cannot just sit down on the freaking floor and start doing all these weird stretchings, right, that you see online. I just like, I'm standing up, boom, I stretch my shoulders, I stretch my hamstrings, all of those things. And it's quick, it's 1 or 2 minutes, right? But that's what actually makes all the difference. There's a quote that says, God is in the details, right? So everything is in the details. The details, they just compound and compound and compound and compound until boom, you see a massive result, right? So you don't have to stretch for an hour. I personally don't have time to stretch for an hour, right? And most people don't. Right, but you do have time to stretch 10 minutes in the morning, 1 minute, 2 minutes every 1 or 2 hours that you're working, and 5 to 10 minutes before your training session, and also after your training session when you come back home. Okay, so that's one of the biggest levers you can pull, and forget about weightlifting, right? The benefits of mobility are also for you when you're going to be older. When you're going to be 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years old, you're going to be able to actually move and, be able to play with your children or grandchildren or whatever. Right, so those are the actual benefits of mobility. So now guys, if you truly want to go from 90 to 120 kilo snatch like Asher did or like I did a couple years ago, just click the link down below or go reach out to our Instagrams, either Asher Hayho or Brian. What Asher does, it's a little bit similar to me. He does one-on-one coaching. Yeah guys, see you on the next one. God bless you.